Blessings, divine warriors of the light. And thank you for being here today. Today's video is to reconnect with yourself, and there's an activation at the end of the video. You see, change separates you. You need to reconnect with yourself to handle the great and massive amount of change taking place with and around your life and in this world right now. You see, the thing about guilt, shame, fear, anxiety, doubt, unhealthy anger, self-pity, with all that as destructive as they are, it separates you from yourself, whether as an infant, as a child, an adolescent, and most profoundly, it separates you now as an adult. Your world is just too exciting. Your world is too filled with change. This monumental decade is just too monumental to go through it separate from yourself. When you look at the events of last week, or just when you think things look like they were settling down, going to be mundane again, going to be peaceful, boom, you have this magnificent change that breaks apart all presidency. You are going in all kinds of directions, trying to figure out what happened there and here. Will it ever slow down? What's going to happen? How can I deal with this when things just keep happening around me over and over and over again? I need space to breathe. So accelerated progress is knocking. When we say it looked like it would never happen like this, well, it does. And now, even today, your presidents are going on TV and telling us a whole new approach. She is going to redirect the entire philosophy of defense programs, of food systems, of medical systems, of financial systems, etc. And it's talking about a future that is there to be created. And coming out of his or own prudently thought out mouth to create a future in his or her image. There is a future that is she spoke of. It is there to be created. Then the destiny is not to be waited for, but to be chosen. You're on the brink of a new age in which there is a future to be created, and destiny not to be waited for, but to be lived, to be chosen. It is too exciting. Too much is happening to sense this separated, but instead to be part of it. You see, change separates you. You need to reconnect with yourself to handle the great and massive amount of change taking place within and around your life and your world right now, right? So that sounds good, reconnect to the self. Well, how do I do that, right? So there are many ways to reconnect to the self, again, but there is one way I like to use that can work absolutely and magnificently, and that is this. So to reconnect with yourself is to, first of all, it is to resurrect the dream that you have had. And in that dream, you resurrect it. Tell yourself the truth. What part of the dream is child fantasy? What part of the dream is adolescent fantasy? And to let go of those parts. You see, as a child, you dreamed in order to survive. And a lot of your dreams were filled with ways of vindication, clearing blame and suspicion, and ways of survival. When I grow up, I'm going to be such and such, whatever that is, and I'm going to be the most famous, I'm going to be on the cover of this, I'm going to be the richest, I'm going to be the most powerful, the most, that, etc. And a lot of that was survival to get you through the pain and the unprocessed emotions and mental chatter in your brain. As an adolescent, you added to that dream certain pieces of bravado, private, personal, etc., certain pieces of arrogance, ignorance, certain pieces of absolute lunacy, foolishness, etc. But that was necessary to survive that trauma and that panic. What did shame, guilt, fear, unhealthy anger, self-pity, addictions, etc. do to you at your adolescent identity level? Did you say, I'll never love again, I'll give up, it's too hard, no one cares, why bother? Or that I just have to find the perfect mate, soulmate, cosmic partner, or you're good enough and nobody else is good enough for me. So when you grew up, you looked at the dream and said it's rubbish, and that was foolish. That was just childhood nonsense and phantasm, and you threw it away. You need to go back and pick up that dream and separate out the part that was childhood fantasy or phantasm and not fantasy, or fantasy is best relationship ever, the richest ever, it will be perfect, etc. The real dream is being happy and being loved, holding hands, family, cuddling, etc. And adolescent fantasy, anybody pay attention to me trying out a lot of relationships. Did you say, I'll never love again, I'll give up, it's too hard and no one cares, why bother? Or that I just have to find the perfect mate, the soulmate, lover, cosmic partner, or good enough and nobody else is good enough for me, etc. Let those fantasy parts go. You may need to mourn their loss. It may be very sad and bring tears to your eyes. I'm not going to be the richest on the planet, or you will not be the mega success, the head of every corporation in the world, that you're not going to marry the most sexiest, strongest, and perfect superwoman or superman on this planet. So you need to let go and even mourn. You need to let go and even mourn the loss of these fragments, but do not lament a passionate expression of grief or sorrow them too long. And as you strip away the child and adolescent fantasy, you will still have certain fragments, pieces of a dream. You need to start building on those fragments, on those pieces. So, now what is your dream? Not your mother's or father's or authority figures that are out there, but your dream. And as you do that, resurrect the dream. Strip away the fantasies of child and adolescent. Mourn their loss if you want, but do not lament them too long. And then start adding to what fragments you have left to create your own dreams. That is a way you can reconnect to yourself. So start weaving your own dream from those pieces, like we did as an adolescent when you were defragmented yourself. You picked up those pieces you liked about being a teenager and weave those together. And this is the same for your main dream. For each stage of your life, weave the child's dream, the adolescent and an adult's dream together. The pieces you want to keep, then create your dream. You are the master of your dreams. What dream do you want to resurrect? For that is the way you reconnect to yourself. So be it.